Hello, everyone. My name is Julie. I am the owner and founder of Lady Faultie's Apothecary. Usually I say good morning, but it is afternoon, so good afternoon. We are here today to talk about full moon energy today. So before we get started with that, I am going to just light a little bit of sage here if I can find a piece. Don't need a very big piece. Try not to burn my fingers. So a little bit for you guys. And some for me. If you're watching, just say hello or tell me where you're from. Click the like button, all those good things. So we'll put that over there to burn for a little bit. All right. And so first off, I want to start with saying that most places right now, if you go online and look up the July full moon, it's going to tell you it's a full moon in Capricorn, which is where it sort of should be. The placements and the charts that were made are very old. And over the last 2,000 years or so, Earth has shifted. So it's not exactly in the same place that it was 2,000 years ago, which I don't think is anything to be too upset about or too worried about. It took 2,000 years to do it. So probably not anything we need to worry about anytime soon. But it's actually, if you follow the actual stars and not the charts that say this is where we're supposed to be, if you actually follow the stars, the full moon is actually in Sagittarius right now. So part of the reason I'm telling you that is, first of all, it's knowledge, right? It's just common. I don't want to say common knowledge, but it's knowledge that I'm sharing with you. But also because a lot of the energies and things that I'm going to be talking about are related to Sagittarius. And if I didn't tell you that and I was talking about all these energies and things we're going to work with, you'd be like, that's not really Capricorn energy. So that's why. It's because we're actually working with Sagittarius energy. So I just wanted to put that out there. So yeah, so anything, if you're Googling full moon in July, it's probably going to say Capricorn, unless it's a true like astronomer who actually follows the actual stars and not the charts. And then they will, say that, yes, if you look at the placements of the stars right now, we're actually in Sagittarius. So they have shifted a little. Actually, they haven't. We have shifted a little bit. Um, so anyway, so the full moon is actually in Sagittarius. Other things, it's also known as the buck moon. The reason it was called the buck moon by a lot of natives was because this is the time that the deer's antlers would be full grown, or close to full grown. So there would have been all the deer running around with all their antlers, all the bucks. So it's a little side note there for you. So for the energies of this particular full moon, recap again, full moon is when we release things that are no longer serving us. New moon is when we are calling things in, when we are manifesting things. So a lot of the energy that we're going to talk about today is about growth, which kind of falls, when you think about it, falls more under manifesting and calling things in than releasing things. So you just have to kind of think of it outside of the box a little bit of like, if there's something that's blocking what you're trying to manifest, let's work on releasing that. If there is something that's holding you back, from manifesting what it is that you want, let's work on releasing that. So you can kind of put it that way. So, a lot of the energies that we're talking about are about growth, which is really like the big aspect of this full moon is growth. And so you're trying to like think of how does that relate to releasing things if we're working on growth. So again, just kind of think of the things that might be holding you back, that maybe you can work on releasing. So whether it be fear or anxiety or whatever it may be, you can work on releasing those things that might be blocking your growth. So I feel like I'm rambling today. So anyway, full moon in Sagittarius is also trine with Jupiter. So when it's trine, you're saying, okay, well, that's 3, right? So it's also trine with Mercury. So the full moon is trine with Jupiter and Mercury. So a little bit of recap if you aren't familiar with my weekly videos, where we talk about a lot of these things, what Jupiter's rules and what Mercury rules is. Jupiter is all about growth, good fortune, and one of the big ones is, optimism. So there's a lot of that coming during these next couple of weeks. So a lot of growth, good fortune, optimism. Jupiter also may heighten your intuition a little bit. So you may have that bonus going for you. Where Mercury is all about our communication. And so it is in a positive aspect. So communication should be good, should be clear. There shouldn't be any miscommunications or things like that around this energy. Mercury is also conjunct with Ceres, which most of you would know like as the Christmas star. So that's going to put a positive aspect on business and success. So lots of good things, lots of positive things there. So combining the full moon, Jupiter, Mercury, and Ceres all together really is going to be a positive growth for business, for education, or for spirituality. Religion like also falls under that, but I just kind of group spirituality all as a whole. So lots of good things there, lots of growth, lots of optimism, and like I said, a little extra heightened intuition might be in there for you. So like I said earlier, the big thing about this full moon is going to really be all around growth. And like I said, it's going to be about business and education and spirituality, but it's also could fall under emotional, and it could also fall under materialism. So you might have some good fortune coming in some sort of material form, which could be money, which, money could then lead to business or education. So you can kind of see where that might all kind of fall in place for you. Another thing I wanted to touch base on is, and I'm not going to get too nerdy or too technical, but there's also a star alignment, which is happening with this full moon as well. And so, again, not going into all the placements and all the alignments and the names of the stars and all that. If you want more information about that, you can certainly message me or you can Google it. There's lots of information out there about it. But the star alignment is all about truthfulness and faith and optimism. So again, you're seeing those same types of things falling into place. The star alignment, the optimism is also with the Jupiter's optimism, which also is Sagittarius. I didn't really go into that too much, but Sagittarius is all about knowledge, adventure, being optimistic, learning, wisdom, travel is in there for Sagittarius. Those are all things that are major points for Sagittarius, but Sagittarius are known to be very optimistic people, and they are people who also want to learn. So again, there's that education falling in there for you. So what does this all mean? Well, it's going to be a really good time with the positive communications, the growth emotionally, and the optimism, and like I said, the good fortune all playing in there. Just to go back a little bit, I didn't do a new moon video. I was on vacation, and so you didn't get a video for that. So the last new moon brought a lot of strain and confusion with all its placements. And again, I'm not going to go into all of that, but just a little recap. It brought some some suspicion and maybe a little bit of deception might have been going on over the last couple of weeks. So with that happening over the last few weeks, you may have noticed those energies of feeling like maybe somebody's hiding something from you, or something's going on that you're not aware. Like, something's going on, but you don't really know what it is. That might have been going on the last couple of weeks. So moving into this full moon with all this positive energy, this might be a really good time over the next couple of weeks to kind of talk about what some of your emotions might have been. So it's a really good time to talk openly and honestly, because like I said, it's all about growth and good fortune and good, clear communications. So anything that might have been putting some sort of strain on your relationship over the last couple of weeks might be something that you want to talk about. And again, you can tie that into, let's talk about this and see what's going on, and then we can work on releasing that together under the full moon energy. Also, there might be a little bit going on still of work versus home, need versus want. That energy might be causing a little bit of conflict as well. So again, it would be a perfect time for that type of communication. Let's see, what else do I have here? The sun is opposite the moon, which is bringing harmony, not really harmony, focus, I guess is a better word, is bringing home, family, and intimate relationships into focus. So again, for me, I feel like that bringing that into focus for us is again tying in back into that perfect time for growth and good fortune and good communications. So really this full moon is, like I said, is about growth, but it's also about being honest with your feelings and being honest with yourself and being honest with the people around you. So, you know, I kind of feel like, it's one of those things like, well, you should just be honest all the time. And I don't necessarily think that people are out there lying to each other or, being sneaky or deceptive or, things like that. But I think sometimes we're not truly honest with ourselves, and therefore we're not honest with our relationships, or perhaps, we just don't speak up, and we just kind of let things kind of just go and don't talk about things. So, but use your intuition, just because over the next 2 weeks I've said this is going to happen, right? If you go to talk to your partner and your partner starts out with that he's had a really crappy day at work, maybe like skip it, maybe wait a little bit. So use your intuition, use your own judgment for things like that. Don't just be like, well, Julie said it would be a really good day to talk. Again, use your own intuition of, reading the room, reading the energy. If someone's not feeling well, or somebody had a really bad day at work or something like that, maybe just postpone those conversations a little bit. So, but really nothing to worry about. It's actually quite, I think, it's quite good it's really good energy. I'm not sure the word I was looking for, but it's very positive energy that's going to be coming. So, like I said, lots of growth, lots of good fortune, lots of optimism, good communication. Um, so, if you've been having a challenging last couple of weeks, that was due to the energy around the new moon that we had. And so, you should be seeing a pretty big shift of um, strain and suspiciousness moving into a very positive and optimistic energy. So, um, you should be feeling that. I definitely was feeling the new moon energy over the last couple of weeks, not just relationship wise, but, school wise, work wise. Like it just feels like everything's just been kind of heavy. So that's that strain. So I'm really looking forward to the shift of this new moon, this full moon. Sorry, I didn't start. I should have started with saying the full moon is actually on the 3rd. So today is the 2nd. So it's tomorrow. But again, if you've watched my videos for a little while, you know that the full moon energy really is like a 3-day kind of period. So you could start doing this work anytime today, and then tomorrow, and then even into Tuesday would be really good. Um, it's one of those things, it's kind of a layered thing, right? So if you are doing your full moon, I keep wanting to say new moon, your full moon work on the full moon, or you could even go as far as the exact moment of the full moon, um, then that's going to be beneficial. If you go to the day, that's going to still be beneficial. If you work around those 3 days, it's still beneficial, but it's maybe not quite as great. Um, but I'm also a big believer that anytime you can do releasing work or manifesting work, whether it's the new moon or the full moon, do it. If there's something you're trying to manifest, you don't have to wait to a new moon. You can manifest at any time. If there's something you want to release, you can do it anytime. You don't have to wait till a full moon. Um, those are just layers. Those are just tools. Those are just to aid us in what we're doing. But we don't need them to do the work. So, also, it's going to just kind of be a time the next couple of weeks where you're probably going to feel, how do I say this? I want to say leisurely, but not lazy. Like you're not necessarily going to feel like you want to be on the couch leisurely. You're just not going to feel maybe that, like the last 2 weeks for me was just panic and rush and chaos and, so it's going to be a much more relaxed, calming energy, but not so that you are going to like feel like being in your pajamas on the couch kind of thing. It's just going to be a much more relaxed, calm, kind of go with the flow energy, maybe feeling a little bit more sociable, things like that. So that's going to wrap up that part of the video for us. And then we're going to move over into some of the things that you can work with during this time. And again, you can do it today, you can do it tomorrow, you can do it Tuesday. If for some reason you can't do it any of those days, you can do it whenever you have time. It's still going to be beneficial for you. It's still going to have meaning. It's still going to be a productive process for you. So, all right. So the first thing I like to start with is an affirmation. And I'm just going to type it here. It's a short one, but I think it's a very powerful one. Make sure I spelled it right. So I trust in the universe. One of the reasons I've picked that is, again, that optimism, that growth, that good fortune, all of those energies that are around us right now. But I also picked it because lately I have seemed to be saying this a lot in conversations with people. And I don't want to sound like cliche of like, Everything happens for a purpose. Everything happens in perfect time. Trust the universe. But really, they're true. They are so true. And, I'm not just saying those because those are things we're just taught to say. I truly do believe in it. I truly do believe that the universe has a plan for us. She has our back. That doesn't necessarily mean that nothing bad is ever going to happen to us. But again, I'm a strong believer that everything that happens to us is for a reason. It's going to put us somewhere else that we need to be. It's a lesson that we need to learn to become better people, stronger people. I don't try to get too caught up in the whys of things. I just trust that the universe has got my back on it, even for small things. So, for example, yesterday, I wanted to go to a store that was open yesterday, and they were only opened from 8 to 12. And I've been wanting to go for a couple of months. And so I'm like, okay, I'm going to go tomorrow, which was actually yesterday. But anyway. And then someone was here in the shop, and we had a very great conversation. We had a very meaningful conversation, and I didn't get to the store. Now, I could have been upset that I didn't get to the store because I really wanted to go, but I thought of it in the ways of, first of all, this woman, she was here in my shop for a reason. We were having that conversation for a reason. And for her benefit, but for my benefit as well. And maybe, and I always go to this, maybe for some reason, either I wasn't supposed to be on the road when I was going to be on the road. Maybe I wasn't supposed to be in the shop that day. Maybe, and not necessarily that maybe something bad was going to happen, but maybe there was a day that would have been, that's going to be a better day for me to go. Like if I went this day, then I wouldn't be going this day, and that's the day I really needed to be there. So, like, again, I don't try to get too caught up in figuring it out. I'm just giving you some examples of some things that might be why these things are happening. But again, it's really just trusting that these things happen for a reason. And, it goes back to, again, like for a long time, I was releasing anger, and it wasn't really working for me, but that's a whole nother story. But I could have been angry yesterday that I didn't get to the store, and I wasn't. I wasn't angry at all that I didn't get to the store. I'm just like, oh, well, it'll happen another day. No big deal. Guess I wasn't supposed to go today. And it didn't bother me at all. And, so it all ties in together and is all connected for you. So really, I think it is important when you're brushing your teeth, when you're washing your hair in the shower, when you're stirring the sugar in your coffee, any of those things, while you're laying in bed trying to fall asleep, driving in your car. I use examples of things that you have to be doing throughout the day that you can't overly be productive doing other things. So use that time to work on your affirmations, work with your affirmations. So again, while you're stirring your coffee, just kind of say it a couple of times. While you're washing your hair in the shower, say it a couple times. Make it a little thing, like every time you are getting in or out of your car, you say it. Whatever works for you. But I'm just pointing out that you don't need to be like, I have to set aside 20 minutes every day to work on my affirmations. You don't need to. If you want to, and you can, and you have time to do that, that is amazing. But you don't need to. You can just say these in your everyday life when you're doing things, standing in line at the bank, standing in line at the grocery store, things like that. You can be saying these affirmations. So the next thing that we usually go over is the tarot card. So again, these tools that I'm picking are geared towards Sagittarius and not Capricorn. Okay. just to recap, if you just started watching this video for some reason and didn't see the beginning, the full moon is technically in Sagittarius, not Capricorn. And you can go back and watch the beginning if you need to. So tarot card is the Temperance card. And I do not have a traditional tarot deck. I picked one that I think has really pretty pictures. So yeah, so Temperance here. She's a little bit exposed, but in connection with Sagittarius, Temperance is generous, balanced. Temperance kind of is a little bit of that balance in judgment, like doesn't jump to conclusions, likes to obtain information, likes to get facts, likes to learn. And so those are similar things to Sagittarius. Sagittarius is very, like I said, optimistic and emotional, but in an emotion, not such in a way like Cancer or Pisces is emotional, but we do, Sagittarius is an emotional being. Well, we're all emotional beings. But they're very passionate about things. But again, they're very passionate about, let's see, travel, education, the truth. So again, that's kind of where that judgment part falls in there, right? So they're, Sagittarius is very interested in knowing the truth before making a decision. And Sagittarius is also, and I've said these things before myself, like, this is what I believe in, but that doesn't mean that tomorrow I might learn something that might change how I look at things. New information might come to me and change how I have an opinion on something or how I feel about something. So that kind of energy is going to be surrounding this next couple of weeks. And again, Temperance is again a little bit about moving obstacles as well. So helping get rid of any kind of obstacle that might be holding us back. And again, that's where like, I'm not giving you a specific thing to work on to release. I'm giving you the information to say, this is where I want to grow. This is where I want to expand. This is where I want to move forward. What is it that's keeping me from that? What's in my way? What's holding me back? What's stopping me from that? And that's for you to figure out and for you to work on that for releasing. So an archetype. The archetype, usually the archetype that most people know for Sagittarius is the hunter, the one you always see with the bow and arrow. But there are other ones as well. And the one I picked for this full moon is the student, which again, like I said, is very much the Sagittarius energy of learning and wisdom and truth seeking. And, even the travel that Sagittarius likes to do. I like to go places I've never been. Like, I'm not a typical, like, I don't necessarily like to go back to like, people that want to just they go to Disneyland every year or Disney World or whatever. That's their vacation. They go every year. They do the same thing every year. For me, I like to go different places. Even when we ride on the motorcycle, we try to go to a new restaurant or a new brewery, or there's ones that we really do like that we go back to. But a lot of that is because we're limited on how far we can go in a day, and we eventually start to run out of places to go, new places. But travel, what I'm getting at is, even the travel for Sagittarius is a learning, new experience, knowledge-based kind of travel. So that's where the whole student archetype comes in there. And I don't know if I do still have it here on my phone, if I can get it pulled up here. Let me see. It's a picture that I've worked with for a while, and see if I can get it pulled up here. How do I find it? Maybe it's here. Nope, it's not there either. All right, well, I'm not going to go too crazy trying to find it here, but it's a picture of a woman sitting. She's kind of, it's an older looking, like she's kind of wearing a cloak. So like it's, in older days, she's wearing a cloak and she's sitting Indian style, and she's got a book open on her lap, and the pages are just flying all around her. And to me, that just speaks like wisdom is all around you, and you just have to, reach out and grab it, and it's there for you. You just have to get it. So it's a picture I have on my phone, and it's actually my lock screen. So it's like it's there when it comes up, but I don't see all the pages floating around her. Wanted to get it so that it doesn't have my information on it, but the book is like just flying all around her, and the pages are all around her, and I just absolutely love that whole concept of knowledge is floating all around us. We just need to kind of grab a hold of it and learn it. So what I was going with that is, if you wanted to work with that type of energy of the student, just Google, somehow in images, and just kind of scroll through till you find something that speaks to you, that like really has like, oh, I really like that picture. And you can work with it that way. And like I said, I'm a big one of putting it on my phone and work with it that way. Then every time I open my phone, I see that picture. Or you could, again, we've talked about printing them out and having a little frame on your altar space, or, put it next to where you sit and watch TV in the evening or read or whatever, so that you can work with it that way. Make it work for you is basically where I'm going with that. So some stones that you might want to work with. The first one I picked is Sagittarius. Yep, is turquoise. And this card says strengthens your optimism and faith and infinite possibilities. So again, there's that faith and that optimism coming into play for you. So the other one I picked is some peridot. It's actually, this is on a Virgo card, but it says honesty, care, and altruism. So if you wanted to work with that honest energy, that honest communication, things like that, it's really good for that. Peridot's also a good healing stone. It's a good heart chakra stone. These stones are good for lots of other things, but I'm just kind of touching on the points of what's involved in today's conversation. So, and the other one I picked is garnet, and it's enhances aptitude, esteem, and patience is what the card says. But one of the reasons I picked it, and it does say Capricorn, one of the reasons I picked it is because it is a calming stone, believe it or not. I mean, we talk about garnet as like a passion stone, but it is also a balancing stone, a centering stone. And so we can work with the energy that way as well. So those are turquoise, peridot, and garnet if you wanted to work with any of those. If you don't have any of those, don't freak out. Don't be like, I have to go buy all these things. You don't have to. Again, they're just tools that you can work with if you have them. If not, you can also work with just some quartz. God, word totally left my brain for a minute. You can work with some quartz. So quartz in itself is an amplifier. It's a booster. So if you're setting your intentions for, like, example, these things that the stones are talking about. So if you're setting your intention for optimism and you don't have a turquoise to work with for that optimism, you can work with a quartz, and it's going to boost your intuition, your intention of optimism. So, that's why I always tell people, if you don't have any stones and you have to pace yourself and buy one here and buy one there and stuff, one of the first ones I always recommend is quartz, because it will just amplify whatever it is you're trying to work towards. So herbs/oils, I group these together because you can work with them either or. You don't have to have them all as herbs. You don't have to have them all as oils. You can work with them however you have them. One of the first ones I picked is grapefruit. So I know that's probably not like a common one that most people are going to probably have hanging around, but I do want to, educate people and broaden your horizon and expand your knowledge, right, Sagittarius? So grapefruit is really good for abundance and like prosperity. So again, tying that back to the growth and the good fortune aspect of the energy. Turmeric. And turmeric is just really good for bringing you whatever it is you need. And I love that because I associate that back with like the universe gives you whatever it is you need. And sometimes what you need is not what you think you need. And sometimes what you think you need is not good for you. So trusting in the universe to just bring you what you need, and trusting in turmeric to just bring you what you need. You know, that's one of those things where, sometimes when I'm talking to people and they're like, I don't know what to release, or I don't know what to manifest, I don't know what to call in, I don't really know where to start. One of the things I'll tell people is just release what no longer serves me, or I'm calling in whatever it is that I need. Like, and fall back on that trust in the universe that she's gonna bring what you need, or she's gonna get rid of what you don't need. And that, you don't have to necessarily know at this moment. So turmeric just is going to bring you what you need. The last one I picked is marshmallow root. Marshmallow root is really good for cleansing. So nothing particular tying this into the energies itself, just that it's something different that we can use for cleansing. We've talked about sage, we've talked about cedar, we've talked about juniper, we've talked about Palo Santos. We've talked about even stones that are good for clearing, selenite, things like that. So if you're trying to release something that's not serving you anymore, or an obstacle that's in your way, something that's holding you back, so that would be some sort of cleansing, right? So marshmallow root is something that you could use for that as well. Those are all things you can put in a tea. Those are all things that will come in an essential oil, and you could make an anointment or a perfume for it. Those are all things you could put in your bathtub. Turmeric, though, I will let you know, does tend to stain. So if you're going to do like a ritual bath or a cleansing bath, and you use some turmeric, just know it might be a little messy to clean up. So just a heads up on that. But all right, so moving over to colors, some colors that you could work with. So the color for Sagittarius is purple. And purple is the color of magic. Purple is the color of open-mindedness. You can go into so much more with colors, but purple is the color of Sagittarius, which I think is very interesting because it's also the color of magic. So, and I think I'm a little biased because I'm Sagittarius, but I really think that the learning and the knowledge and the wisdom and all of that's tied around Sagittarius is what drives one of the things that drives me to do all the things that I do right now, that I am becoming. So, and it's very magical, right? It's all very magical. The other two colors I picked the reason I picked them are a little bit different than what I normally pick for. But I picked purple and red. Blue and red. So most of you know that blue is my favorite color. I work with everything blue, but blue and red. So part of the reason I picked blue and red is because blue is our water energy. It's very good for our intuition. Fire, red, is our drive and our passion. Our desire is all around that fire energy. Water energy and fire energy are going to help balance us out, though. So we're going to stay nice and balanced with those two colors. And red and blue together make purple. I just thought that was kind of a neat little like whole thing. And maybe I'm just silly, but I thought it was cool. I thought it was interesting. So it's all about the opposite, the blue and the red, the water and the fire, but coming together and balancing it out and making purple as open-minded and magic, right? So those are my two big signs. I have two placements that are fire energy, and I have three placements that are water energy. So basically, like that's like I'm mostly water with some fire, and mixed it all together. And yeah, so I know I'm silly, but I thought it was neat. All right, moving over to our journal prompt. This one is a little bit different as well. Why is A? For some reason, the A wouldn't type. Journal prompt. I can't type. I really can't type today. Okay, so thought I heard somebody outside. Didn't. Where am I on the emotional scale? So again, journaling is about just writing fluently, not about necessarily thinking, not about grammar, not about spelling, not about punctuation, just writing as fast as you can think, right? And then you can go back and do all that other stuff if you want. But, it's just what's coming to your brain, what's coming through to you, and writing it down. And a lot of times when people do that, it is a release in itself. But a lot of times it will bring something to light that maybe you didn't necessarily know was there. Could be bad, could be good. So just that's where some of that growth is going to come from, right? So, where am I on the emotional scale? And it doesn't necessarily need to be detailed. It doesn't need to be like, well, I'm 10% happy and I'm 10% angry and I'm 50% anxious. Like it doesn't need to be like that. It's just on the scale of emotions. Where do you think you are? Like, how do you think, are you tipping one way or the other? Are you all over the place? Um, are you really heavy on one side than the other side? So, like I said, go back 5-6 years for me. I would have been definitely heavy on the anger side and very light on the happy joy side. And now I would say that's very much different for me. I still get angry. Things still irritate me. I still get road rage every once in a while, but tangent here. But I talk myself out of it. I'm like, okay, it happened. Deal with it. Do we really want to spend the rest of the day mad about this? No. Does that guy give a shit that he cut me off? No. He's going to go about his day and have a perfectly great day still. So why am I letting it ruin my day? And then again, tying in that whole like, well, maybe he cut me off and set me back in traffic for what, 5 seconds, 6 seconds, but maybe it had to happen for some reason. Maybe that was supposed to happen for whatever reason. So that's where, like, before I would have been angry about it, and I would have stayed angry about it, and I would have been angry all day, and I would have been in a bad mood. And then all of that would have probably made other problems come along the day, because I would have been grumpy and bitchy and snappy at people. And, it just kind of snowballs, right? And makes a beginning of a bad day into a really bad day. Where now I'm just kind of like, all right, it happened. I guess we'll just move on from here. So, but where are you on that scale? And, maybe from, I feel like I got to sneeze. Maybe from there, maybe you realize that you're not off as bad off as you thought you were. Or maybe, like I said, maybe something comes up for you that you're like, oh, I guess I do spend more time um, feeling anxious or depressed or sad than I really thought I did. Um, However, it's going to be different for everybody, but um, it's just hopefully going to start that thinking process for you of maybe what do you need to release and where do you need to grow. So, and then the last thing that we usually talk about is just a craft. And I previously used to do all kinds of craft videos, and I just haven't had time with school right now. I do hope to get back into that when school is done. So maybe towards the fall that might be happening. If not, it will definitely be for 2024. Those will be starting up again. But something that is a really fun project that's super easy, which is great about learning things, is get like it doesn't have to be fancy, but a notebook or any kind of book. You could even go to like the thrift store and get an old book that it doesn't matter what the book is. Because you're going to take some like parchment paper and put them in between the pages, and then go out and collect a flower or a bunch of flowers and put them in the book and press them. Has anybody ever done that before? I used to, when we were kids, we used to do that. We used to press flowers in books. And then you can research what the flower is, if there's metaphysical properties to it, if there's medicinal properties to it, and things like that. Part of that is, again, that growth, that knowledge, that wisdom that's out there. But I'm also a big believer that what grows around you is what you may be needing. So if there's a particular flower that grows wild, crazy near your house, like dig into what's that flower. Like I said, if it's a medicinal purpose or a energetic purpose, a spiritual purpose, whatever it may be, and see if maybe that ties into something that is going on with you in your life, emotionally, physically, whatever. See if that somehow is like, seems like it fits for you, right? So I always think that's interesting. Somebody will say, well, yeah, that flower grows crazy at my house. I don't know why. I can't get rid of it. It grows everywhere. And then I'll say, well, it's good for this, this, and this. And they're like, oh, okay. Well, I guess I should go get that. I guess I need that. So I do find a lot of times, again, the universe has got your back. She's there to support you. But just go see what's growing around you. And maybe you're like, I don't know, it's just weeds. But, everything is a plant. Just because we've been told it's a weed, we've been told dandelion's a weed, and dandelion has a ton of great benefits to it. So, even if you think it's just a weed, do a little research on it and see what's going on with it, and see if it's something that might tie into something that's going on with you. Maybe something that's going to help you release, something that's going to help you grow, something spiritual, something medicinal, whatever it may be. So, and if you do that, I would love to see some pictures of it. You could go over to my Facebook group, which is Lady Fault Eyes Light Healers, and maybe show a picture of the flower and give a little bit of information, whatever it is that you found, and then let us know if it does seem to fit for anything for you. See if it seems to be like, oh yeah, this makes perfect sense why this is here. So those little things that happen that we think are coincidence, but they're not. It's the universe. She's got you. So, all right, I'm going to leave that for the end here. And I will see you guys all tomorrow morning for our weekly astrology, which is more of a Cliff Notes version, just to help you kind of plan out your week. And as always, remember to be kind. Your kindness is not only going to improve your day, it's going to improve somebody else's day. And it could potentially change someone's life for the better. So, and it doesn't cost us anything. Love you guys. Bye.